Seventh Taghut is the Mufti of the Taghut. So these tyrannical rulers who are oppressing the Muslims and killing the Muslims because of their Islam, they have sheikhs who pass fatwas on their behalf to prop up their government. There are some Muslims who make takfir on the Taghut because the Taghut dismantled the Sharia. But these same Muslims, they love the Mufti of the Taghut. Why? Because they have a Tawheed problem and they don't understand Islam properly. Ibn Taymiyyah used to make takfir on the Mufti of the Taghut. So listen to Ibn Taymiyyah. What did Ibn Taymiyyah say about the Mufti of the Taghut? The scholars of the palace. Mata taraka al-alim ma alima wattaba al-hakim fi hukmihi المخالف لكتاب الله وسنة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم كان هذا العالم كافرا مرتدا يستحق العقوبة في الدنيا والآخرة. Whenever a scholar abandons his knowledge and follows a ruler that governs against Quran and Sunnah, that scholar has become a murtad, an apostate, and a kafir, a disbeliever who deserves to be punished both in this life and in the hereafter. Volume 35, page 373 from the Fatawa of Ibn Taymiyyah. There was a man in Chechnya called Ahmad Kadyrov, and he passed a fatwa taking sides with Russia to come into Chechnya. And Russia kills Muslim women and children indiscriminately, men, women, and children indiscriminately. They kill Muslims with impunity. Ahmad Kadyrov gave his allegiance, his wala, to Russia. On the 9th of May 2004, he was killed by a huge bomb at a parade, a World War II parade. They were commemorating the victory of World War II. He was killed by a huge bomb. All the Muslims were celebrating his death. Why? Because the Mufti of the Taghut is a Taghut. For you to say the Taghut is a kafir because he dismantles the Sharia and he's killing Muslims, oppressing Muslims, but the sheikh who helps him with his government and pass fatwas for him is a good sheikh, it means that you have a khalal in tafkir, you have a deficiency in your thinking, and you have a Tawheed problem. Because Ibn Taymiyyah used to make takfir on the Mufti of the Taghut. Then another sheikh called Sheikh Bouti of Syria. He supported the government of Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad, he uses warplanes to bomb refugee camps that contain Muslim women and children because he is an Alawite and he hates Muslims. He hates Muslims, the Shiites of Syria and Iran. They hate Muslims more than Christians and Jews hate Muslims. A Shia is a worse kafir than Jews and Christians. Because these Shiites in Syria and Iran, they believe the Quran is corrupted. They accuse Aisha of having an affair. They believe that the sun, the moon, and the stars are subservient to the Shiite Imams. They said that their Shiite Imams are above all the prophets and all the messengers of Allah. Their Shiite Imams are above all the prophets and all the messengers of Allah. So these people with their creed, they are the greatest enemies of Islam and Muslims. Yesterday, Bashar al-Assad, his planes bombed a refugee camp on the border of Turkey and killed 70 people, women and children. So he kills Muslims indiscriminately because of his natural hatred for Muslims. Now this Sheikh Bouti, gave his wala, his allegiance to Bashar al-Assad. On the 21st of March 2013, he was killed in his masjid with a huge bomb. All the Muslims in the world were celebrating his death. Why? Because the Mufti of the Taghut is a Taghut. The same way Ahmad Kadyrov of Shishan, Chechnya, when he was killed in 2004, everybody in the world was celebrating his death. Why? Because the Mufti of the Taghut is a Taghut. So when you have a kafir leader and a sheikh supports the leader and pass fatwas for the leader, the sheikh becomes a kafir as well. Then you have Yusuf Qaradawi of Egypt. He believes in democracy and he preaches democracy. He didn't reject the Taghut. You have Sheikh bin Baz of Saudi Arabia. He passed a fatwa allowing the American troops to have a military base inside of Saudi Arabia. The American army, they kill Muslims in Fallujah that they found in the masjid. So they come into this masjid the way you are sitting down, and they kill you, and you are in the masjid minding your own business. The amount of chemical weapons used and Fallujah is equal to 11 Hiroshima. The American army, they rape thousands of Muslim women and children in Iraq and Afghanistan. They even rape children. Why they rape women and they put it all over the internet? I saw these films on the internet. They think they are disgracing 1.5 billion Muslims. So they use rape as a weapon, thinking they can disgrace 1.5 billion Muslims. They kill Mujahideen in Afghanistan, and then they urinated on the dead bodies of the Mujahideen. I saw Hillary Clinton condemning what they did. They killed Mujahideen, then they urinated on the dead bodies of Mujahideen, thinking they are disgracing 1.5 billion Muslims. This is the army Sheikh bin Baz gave his wallah to. He passed a fatwa for them to have a permanent military base inside the Arabian Peninsula. The drone that killed Anwar Awlaki came from Saudi Arabia. The drone that killed the 16-year-old child of Anwar Awlaki, he was 16, an innocent boy. It's called collective punishment. If we hate the father, we hate the son. If we kill the father, we kill the son. But the son did not do anything. He was only 16, minding his own business. He didn't even give speeches. But they killed his son, Abdurrahman al-Awlaki. The drone that killed his son came from Saudi Arabia. So Sheikh bin Baz gave his allegiance to the army of the Dajjal. Therefore, where al-Wala wal-Bara is concerned, Sheikh bin Baz was never a Muslim. Why? Because he did not reject the Taghut. You can't be a Muslim if you are in bed with the Taghut. For you to be a Muslim, you need to reject the Taghut. As for Albani, he had a problem as well, where Aqidah was concerned. He wasn't a Muslim because he said, if you insult the Prophet Muhammad, you are not a kafir. If you insult Allah, you're not a kafir. You are only a person who is ill-mannered. He gives the excuse of ignorance to people who insult Allah. He gives the excuse of ignorance to people who insult Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no such thing called the excuse of ignorance for a man who insults Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So where Aqidah was concerned, Albani was never a Muslim. Where Kufr bi-Taghut was concerned, Bin Baz was never a Muslim because he gave his wallah to the army of the Dajjal, an army which is dedicated to killing as many Muslims as possible. The American army, they bomb hospitals in Afghanistan and kill doctors and nurses and patients. When they are bombing Muslim countries, they bomb hospitals, they bomb schools, they bomb masajid, the Muslim holy place of worship. They kill men, women, and children indiscriminately. The Rasul said no two religions can be found in the Arabian Peninsula. By you allowing the army of the Dajjal in the Arabian Peninsula, the same land Allah revealed the Quran, and the Sahabas fought to liberate the Arabian Peninsula from kufr, shirk, and zandaka. Bin Baz brought the kufr back and the shirk back with his fatwa. So he is claiming that the blood of the Sahabas is cheap. I can betray the blood of the Sahabas with my fatwa. Their blood is cheap. This is why he was a very dangerous person, and he was a Taghut. The Mufti of the Taghut is also a Taghut. And if you did not know this, and you need somebody to tell you this, it means that your knowledge of Islam is very, very lacking. Ibn Taymiyyah passed a fatwa, مَتَى تَرَكَ الْعَالِمَ مَا عَلِمَ وَاتَّبَأَ الْحَاكِمْ فِي حُكْمِهِ الْمُخَالِفِ لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ وسنة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم كان هذا العالم كافرا مرتدا يستحق العقوبة في الدنيا والآخرة. Whenever a scholar leaves off his knowledge and follows the hakim that rules against Quran and Sunnah, this scholar becomes a kafir and a murtad, apostate, who deserves to be punished both in this life and in the hereafter.